My name is Mark Kosek, and welcome to my Google Earth project, A Journey to Visit My Brother. As with most journeys, they begin from home, and my home is here in the Santa Clarita Valley. When I think of home, I think of family. Globalization has scattered many families to the four corners of the earth, and mine is no exception. My older brother Matt lives in Bangkok, Bali, Indonesia. We try to stay in touch with emails and Skype, but technology is a poor substitute for actually being together. This Google Earth journey is my journey to visit my brother. As with all journeys, especially international journeys, they begin from an airport. And mine begins from the Los Angeles International Airport, about an hour and 20 minutes south from where I live. After waiting in line for an hour or so, I finally get my bags checked and I have my boarding passes in hand. And as those of you who have traveled, going through the TSA can be a little bit of an ordeal, so it's good to get prepared ahead of time. I always take off my belt, take out everything out of my pockets, take off my watch, put them inside my carry-on bag, double check that all of my toiletries that are in my 1 quart bag are 3 ounce or under, and my laptop is easy to get out of my bag. So finally queue up for the TSA, and that takes about another 30 minutes to the point where they check your documents and point you off to one of the scanners. And you get in line, put your bags on the belt, take your shoes off, and I basically walk into the full body scanner with shorts and a t-shirt on, and of course they see something. And I'm going, I don't know what they could see, but I get pulled aside for special handling, and they call somebody over, and I get a hand scanning and a pat down to make sure I'm not carrying anything, and I'm quickly released from that and allowed to grab my bags and head on to my gate. So after a while longer, we finally get to board the flight, get settled in, and get ready for the first leg of the flight. Flying to Bali, Indonesia is not an easy thing. It's basically on the other side of the globe from Santa Clarita. It's almost exactly 12 and a half hours time difference. So there are no direct flights from the States to Indonesia. You have to go through either Narita, Japan, Bangkok, Thailand. You can go through Taiwan or Taipei. My flight's going to take me through Thailand, and the journey there is about 15 and a half hours. So Thailand's a beautiful place. I've spent a lot of time there. I've done a lot of business there. I enjoy the country, the scenery, the people, and I love the food. But be careful if you go to Thailand, because the Thais' idea of spicy is off the chart compared to our local Mexican cuisine, and they can really burn you up if you're not careful. So my flight takes me to an airport that is very difficult to pronounce. It is Suvarnabhumi Airport in Bangkok, Thailand. So I arrived there and I have a 5-hour layover in Bangkok, Thailand. And most of you would go, oh my God, a 5-hour layover. But it's actually a really good thing. Throughout Asia, all of the international airports have what they call day rooms. They're rooms that you can rent by the hour. They have a bed, and they have a shower. And so I've already prearranged the day room, so when I arrive after having been on the flight for 15 some hours, I can go in, I can take a hot shower, I can change into the change of clothes that are in my carry-on bag, and I can lay down and I can take a power nap for a few hours before my connecting flight to Bali. This is a wonderful thing, even with a 3-hour power nap and a hot shower. When the wake-up call comes, you're rested, you're clean, and you're ready to go on the rest of your journey. So if you get yourself into a situation where you're going to Bali, don't worry about the layover, just look for a day room. So next off is to fly to Bali, Indonesia. Come on, click up. Bali, Indonesia is a magical place. My brother describes it as being like Hawaii back in the 20s. Bali is an island, actually it's 3 islands, and is part of the Indonesian chain. It's known for its beautiful beaches, its coral reefs, rice fields, and friendly people. Bali was under colonial rule by the Dutch until they gained their independence after World War II in 1949. Um, Bali is often referred to as the island of the gods. The reason that people say this is that every Balinese home has a family temple, and every banjar or village, as we would think of them, has at least one, if not multiple temples. And so, with so many temples throughout the island, you can see why they might refer to Bali as the island of the gods. And the Balinese practice a very interesting religion. It's a mix of Hinduism, Buddhist mythology, some animism, and also some indigenous deities. Um, it's a religion that's practiced on a daily basis. There are ceremonies and offerings that are given daily. Um, it is the only religion that I know of that does not actively seek new participants. They do not go out and try to proselytize. Kind of an interesting thing. One of the interesting things about Bali is that the most expensive coffee in the world comes from Bali, and it's called Kopi Luwak. And the reason that it's so special is that Kopi Luwak is basically, there are these things called civet cats, and civet cats eat the coffee cherries. If you've never seen a coffee bean, it looks kind of like a cherry, and it's the pit inside the seed that we actually roast and grind. The civet cats eat only the ripest coffee cherries, but they don't digest the beans. So the beans are collected from the civet cat feces. They are washed carefully, roasted and ground. And evidently something in the process of being digested in the digestive enzymes gives this coffee its character and its flavor. It is quite wonderful. If you have the chance to try it, you should. You just have to get past the fact that the beans were picked out of civet cat feces. So I arrive into Bali at the Ngurah International Airport, and the airport is named after a Balinese general who died fighting for Balinese independence. Beautiful new airport. So it's taken me probably 20 or so hours to get to Bali, but with the time change, it's actually taken me 2 days. The interesting thing is that when I go back, I'll arrive just a few hours after the time that I left, because of the time change going back. So lose a day going there, basically gain a day coming back. So it evens out. So interesting thing about Bali is that as a U.S. citizen, you can get a visa on arrival, which means you don't have to go to a consulate before you leave and go through the process of getting a visa. You just queue up in line there and you pay your, I think it's $35 now, and you get your 30-day visa, and off you go. Customs can take 5 minutes or 5 hours. It's gotten a lot better lately. They've had a big cut down. There was a fair amount of corruption in the customs department, where some customs officials were extorting money from people to pass them through customs in an expedited manner, and they've kind of shut that down. So it's a lot better. So the first thing that always hits me when I get to Bali is when I walk outside is the warm, moist air. The temperature in Bali is 78 degrees year-round. That's the average temperature. The humidity changes depending upon whether it's during the wet season or the dry season, but the temperature stays the same. So when you pack to go to Bali, it's shorts, swimsuits, t-shirts, sandals. That's about all that you will need. So when I get out, it's pretty easy to spot my brother. He's taller than most Indonesians, and he's got bright red hair. So even though there's a throng of people there waiting for friends and loved ones, I can pick him out of the crowd pretty quick, and we're off to his car and have the baggage packed and ready to go. So our next stop is going to be to drive to Ubud, which is the capital of Indonesia, or actually of Bali. And my brother lives just outside of Ubud in a banjar called Bangking Sedum. But before we get to his house, we have to make a stop at the Karsa Spa. Wyan Carson is a longtime friend of my brother's, and he operates a cafe and a spa just down the street from where my brother lives. My brother helped to build the spa that you see here, and so we always have to make a stop and pay our respects and our greetings. Have a cold bintang beer, which is the local beer, and some fresh roasted peanuts, and then it's time for me to have a full body massage. So after about 90 minutes of having myself pummeled, I feel like a boneless chicken, and I'm ready to face the world. Really gets the knots out after traveling for so long. So interesting thing about Bali is there are more places to get a massage or more places to do yoga than anywhere else in the world. A full body massage in Bali, a 90-minute massage, is like less than $20 with a tip, and that's at a very nice place. So, once my massage is done, I need to make the walk to my brother's house because he's already gone down the street and dropped off the bag. So this is the first time I've been to my brother's house. He just built a new villa that's right on the edge of the rice fields, and the first thing that strikes me when I see it is that the gardens surrounding the villa are just absolutely lush. There are deer stag ferns and all kinds of foliage. There are orchids. There are beautiful koi ponds and a splash pool, and they have what's called a ballet, which is an outside covered platform where you can take a nap during the day. It's kind of a wonderful, wonderful thing. So there are three places that I always try to see when I go to visit my brother. They have such magic for me. The first is the white sand beach. And this is a kind of a secluded little beach on the coast of Bali here. It has kind of a protected feel to it. There's never very many people there. I'm going to show you some pictures here. I got to get in here. This is the great thing about Google Earth, is that there are all these little tags with pictures here, and you can open up pictures. And this one will show you the beach. And so this is the beach. So you can see how nice and secluded it is. See if I can get to the other ones there. Here's a picture of the lounges and the umbrellas. And so behind there are all these little restaurants. And so you can get a fresh coconut. You can get a cold beer. You can get locally caught fish. It's just a great way to relax and spend a day. One of the things that Bali is known for is it's known for its coral. Some people say that Bali is the Amazon of coral because it has more varieties than anywhere else in the world. And just off this white sand beach, you can snorkel down and you can see the most vivid, bright coral and fish that are swimming around. It is such a great day and so relaxing. You just need to remember to wear sunblock. So the other place that I always like to visit is the water temple. And it's called Pura Tirtha Empul. It's a Hindu temple that has a spring, a holy spring, and you can pay to go bathe and swim there. It is a very beautiful place. I'll show you some more pictures here. This is one of the pools. So you walk in and you can take and bathe underneath these fountains. And you'll see all these things that are on top of the fountains. These are all little offerings that are made. They're made out of banana leaf, and they make a little container, and they've got some rice and some little vegetables and stuff on that. And they're offerings that are being made to their gods. The Balinese are a very spiritual people. They practice their religion on a daily basis. They have ceremonies that are kind of national ceremonies. They have family ceremonies. They have ceremonies to, bless appliances or bless cars. I mean, it's just an interesting thing to see people that are so in touch with their religion and so spiritual. One of the things about Bali is that they have Nyepi, which is their New Year. And it's on a lunar calendar, so it doesn't happen on the same time. On Nyepi, everything shuts down. It is a day of reflection. People do not drive. Restaurants are not open. The airport is closed. If you're planning a trip to Bali, find out when Nyepi is, because you could get yourself caught, arriving the day before Nyepi and not arrive and not realize it and not be prepared to have a day of rest and contemplation. So the third place that I always like to visit is a temple complex called the Gunung Kauai Temple Complex. And these are 11th century temples that are carved into the mountainside, and they're part of a royal burial complex. Um, it's a beautiful ride on scooters and motorbikes. Those are the preferred mode of transportation in Bali. Motorcycles and scooters outnumber motor vehicles 100 to 1. So when you drive around, sometimes it feels like you're in a school of fish because there'll be 50, 60 scooters that'll be around you that you'll all be navigating through traffic and whatnot. I'm going to try to see if I can pull up some pictures from the local pins that'll show some of the temple complex a little better. This will give you an idea of how steep this is, because one of the things about this temple is that you get to the base and there are 300 steps to get to the top. But this is kind of a view from around the area with the rice fields and the coconut palms, and you can kind of see how deep and how steep things are. See if I can get through here and find the actual temple complex. This is one of the springs that flows from the temples. The temples generally all have springs or water that are near them. Let's see if I can try to find that photo again, because there were some great photos that were here, and I'm trying to see if I can figure out where they are. Here's one that actually shows the temples carved into the mountainside. Quite spectacular to see the amount of work that was done, and that it was all done by hand. Um, like I said, just another great trip. It's one of these areas where you do have to pay a fee to go inside. When you enter a temple, you must be wearing a sarong, which is like a skirt, long skirt. It's basically a piece of cloth that wraps around, and it's done out of respect. But those are the three places that I always have to see when I visit my brother in Indonesia. So I hope you enjoyed my journey to visit my brother, and thank you for watching my my Google Earth project.